Dear friends, this is my report back from my trip to Interlaken, London, and to India over the last 2 weeks. During this process, I've also picked up this camera and a little bit of a microphone, which I'm going to try to use for this particular first round of video recording. Overall, I'd say that the trip was met expectations. I had very low expectations, as would be expected, having worked on this project for nearly 20 years. I was sure that there's no remarkable thing going to happen from this. The good thing is I met a wonderful bunch of people, some really fantastic people like Asif Iqbal, people in London, and of course people like Lalatendu Dash, whom I'd only met over email in the past. And thereafter I met some excellent people in India during the conference. These people included Nayab, for example, and of course the standard Bhadohi team that we have already had in the past, including Ravi, the potential candidate from Bhadohi, Force One Bharat Party. I met Roy Chaudhary, of course, met Ravi Kataria, and a few other people. I won't be able to name everybody at this point in a hurry, but basically I met a number of excellent people, let us say. It was broadly confirmed in my mind that India is moving in the right direction, although it's very slow. I think the key point that I had made to a lot of people during this process was that the party really started moving last year in around August 2016. Before that, we were all doing preparatory work. Since August 16, we've made some progress. The progress is relatively small. I mean, we've had a bit of a national impact, a bit of an international impact, and at the same time, I believe that we could have achieved more. But the way India moves, that seems to be the end of the maximum capacity that India has at this stage. I think the next 6 months are going to be pivotal and critical, both in terms of the future of the party and, of course, in terms of my engagement. I've come to the view that it is not worth my while in terms of the effort, the cost involved to travel all over the world and to India in confined spaces, essentially tightly cramped aeroplanes and things of the sort, to travel to India, which is in a pretty bad shape, really. It just shakes up one's mind and body, and the nose and everything else. It's totally, the smells and everything. It's not something worth doing unless one is desperately forced to do it, let's say, for some reason. So I'm not really keen to do this anymore after 6 months, unless there is very significant uptake from India, which is pretty unlikely. So I think what's going to happen is this 6 months is really important, and thereafter the party can probably continue on its own momentum. Hopefully there's been some momentum by that time. I will definitely want to take a back seat from then on, given that I just can't afford to do this again and again. So really, at this stage, it's over to people in India to confirm whether they want to do this, take this party forward. I think there is a need for this party, but then I'm not the one who decides. It's the people of India who decide. So I leave it to the people to work out whether they want to do anything more with political liberalism in India. It's been a long journey for me, and I think I'm coming to the end of my journey unless there is very significant uptake. As I said, I don't think that's likely to happen. Fingers crossed though, and all we do is we put in as much effort as possible, and particularly the people in India. I'd suggest that if they are getting serious about contesting elections, about fundraising and so on, if they achieve some interesting results, let's see what comes out after 6 months. In the meanwhile, I'd say the journey met its expectations, which are pretty low, and so we are moving the right direction. It's very slow. Let's hope for the best. And that's it. Let me just see if this video comes up in some form or shape that I can upload, and after that we'll take it from there. Okay.